Sounds good.
Hey. All right. Hey guys, I'm Emeli. Tonight we're doing one of our Late at 8 with Dancers Network, and obviously this is for dancers to keep educated, so when the world is ready to come back to normal, we can all go back to our jobs more informed, more educated, more prepared, and with more knowledge. And this is why we're doing this. I hope this is helpful to people. I hope this conversation sparks other conversations and that you feel inspired by it. I certainly do. Every time this is my second time now. I'm still really nervous because I don't really do lives, but hey, stepping out of the comfort zone and trying something new. And this is for the industry, for the community, and it's always something positive. So tonight we'll be talking to the team of Black Skull. Obviously they have a huge team, but we're going to be speaking to Dan and Ross and Jay Ravel. We're going to start off with Dan and Ross and then have Jay join us afterwards. We have some prepared questions for them. It's going to be really, really cool. I already seen that they requested to join me. And I just want to say, if you have any questions, make sure you press on the question mark underneath so I can sort through them. Yeah? All right. Let me find Black Skull, their request. Sorry guys, give me a second. I'm not really good with Instagram Live yet, but we'll get there. Oh, there you go.
Hi. Hey. Hello.
Let me turn my music off here. There you go. I was having my own private party.
Good for you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Yeah, really good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good too. Thank you. It's evening for you guys. How's your day?
Yeah, good. It's been good. You know, making the most of lockdown life.
Of course. Yeah, same here. I put myself in my little zone so I can pretend like it's evening for me too.
We feel way more daytime in our look, and you've gone totally nighttime.
Yeah, got a little disco light going on, a little zhuzh over here. So I'm taking advantage of the studio, so it's nice. I like it.
I've also got to excuse my lockdown hair because I'd never have my hair like this normally. This is a helmet on.
See, these lives give me an opportunity to actually do my hair or put some earrings on. Other than that, I'm okay. I go through my whole day and my hair is wow. I'm I had no reason to brush it today. Okay. So these lives give me a different perspective, which is nice. Well, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. It means so much. Obviously, you guys are established and such a great company and so important in our industry, and we appreciate it so much that you guys are taking the time to speak to us.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, come on. You know that's how I feel about you. But
I love you. And also just to say, before we start, the work that you do, we think is incredible, and I think what you have done for the industry is really something to be proud of. And
this should have been happening years ago, but we're so glad you've done it.
Yeah, for doing that.
Thank you.
Amazing. We're fully supportive of everything you do.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it means so much. Obviously we do what we do because we want to just make it a little bit better for everybody, and we want to make sure that we're all in communication and that we understand each other's side. And obviously we have such an incredible team. I can absolutely not take all credit for this because I would not be able to do this on my own, but it's a team effort, and that includes you guys. It includes people like you in your position to be open to it and receptive to it, and also bringing your opinion to it. I think it's just as much a part of it. We could be just saying what we need to say, but if no one else is interacting with us, I don't think it would mean as much,
Absolutely. So
this is really beautiful. So thank you so much. Obviously, you guys are Black Skull with some other people, of course. I just wanted to start off with a little icebreaker, we like to do, a little game of rapid fire questions. And basically the aim is to answer all the questions in under 1 minute.
Oh shit,
Right.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Who wants to start?
Go on, Ross.
all right.
Okay, Ross, you got 1 minute. I got my timer here. I hope this time it works. Let me just make sure that my computer is on loud. It is. Okay. I'll start the timer and then I'll start with questions. You ready?
All right.
Okay, ready, set, go. Name.
Ross.
Age.
33.
Birthplace.
Sunderland.
Oh, favorite food.
Pizza. It's not. But anyway.
Favorite song.
Favorite song. Oh, I've got so many I can't even think.
Come on.
Physical, Dua Lipa at the moment.
Okay, favorite job you've done.
London 2012.
Oh, favorite hobby.
Running.
1 word to describe yourself.
Caring.
Proudest moment.
Jurassic World Live opening night.
Nice. Best creative performance you've seen.
I've seen. Oh my god. So hard. You know what? I'm going to say I love the Spice Girls at the LM5 Tour ceremony.
Yeah, your timer was up, babe.
Oh,
but you almost made it. You almost made it. Do you want to finish that thought?
That one, I was going to say, off the top of my head, I loved the Spice Girls at London 2012 closing ceremony with the taxis. Like, loved it. So probably that.
Okay,
I don't know why all these moments make your mind go blank, because I actually can't even tell you, and I'm not even under the pressure. Like,
well, I hope you're prepared, and I hope you took some notes, because you're next.
Yeah, thanks for throwing me into the bus and making me go first.
oh,
You ready? You ready?
Yeah, okay, ready.
All right. And name.
Dan.
Age.
37.
Birthplace.
Caerphilly in Wales.
Favorite food.
I'm going to go for roast dinner.
Favorite song.
I'm going to go for Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush.
Ooh, favorite job you've done.
I would say Dua Lipa AMAs.
Nice. Favorite hobby.
Reading.
Ooh, 1 word to describe yourself.
I'm going to go for vivacious. Go on, go.
Proudest moment.
London 2012 opening night.
Best creative performance you've seen.
I'm going to go for Beyonce Super Bowl.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, obviously.
I don't even think that. But I just
don't think
said
any of my answers are right. It's so hard.
The only answer that I agree on is my name, and I love roast dinners.
That's it. Everything else you're like questioning. I love it. Well, you know, it's just a little like icebreaker to get people like just talking.
What's your favorite performance?
Oh, I wasn't quite ready to answer questions.
No, I wasn't. No, you didn't tell us about this one.
No, my favorite performance is Prince's Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I'm so annoyed with my answer.
And also,
now.
Madonna's Super Bowl was so much better than Beyonce's.
I mean,
so many performances are better than that Spice Girls one. I don't know why I said that.
You know what? It's just whatever comes naturally. It's all good. There's no judging here.
Okay.
No, it wasn't a test, guys.
We're judging ourselves.
Please don't. All right, so let's get just right into it. Obviously, I just wanted to like clarify for our viewers, like the difference, like your guys' position in Black Skull. If you could just like explain it.
So Black Skull Creative is a creative house where we produce performances for people, and that includes all sorts of stuff. But we make up. There's 4 of us that own the company. There's me and Ross, Jay, and Paul. And we all have different skills that we bring to the table, but we all conceptualise everything together, and then we deliver our projects together. And having a team and a creative team together, all on equal footing and all bringing different skills to the table, means that we can deliver lots of different things. And it's exciting.
That's incredible. I mean, obviously, like, I've worked with you guys personally, so I got to experience that, but I don't, like, just for all the viewers out there, honestly, it's every time it's such an experience. They put so much work in, so much thought, attention to detail is honestly, if you ever get a chance to work with them, you should take it because it's pretty epic.
Thanks, Sande.
It is. So, okay, few questions, obviously, that we gathered here. most of our viewers are obviously dancers, so we will direct it mostly towards that. But if you guys have any other input, feel free to add to it. So the first question is, in what types of jobs in the spectrum of what you do you need and appreciate dancers the most?
I think any job where we want to have a big sense of scale, or we want to tell a story, or we want something to be like visually exciting in a human way, then dance is obviously really, really important to us and our first point of call. Like, you can obviously do a lot with technology and like graphics and all that stuff, and all that stuff is brilliant, but I think there's certain performances and certain shows call for like a physical human element, and like what a dancer can do is 10 times what some pieces of technology can do.
And I also think dancers offer a different perspective, because we can ask our artists, who are the centre of the picture, to do so much, but they've probably got limited rehearsal time. So we can push our dancers to a completely different place, get into a lot more detail. They're a lot more receptive to that detail. And therefore, we're probably, by having dancers on the show, we're more in control of the wider picture. And then we just know that our artists can stand in the middle and look amazing, because we can absolutely trust our dancers.
Amazing. It's beautiful. Thank you. Have you ever regretted hiring dancers for a project?
Never like dancers as a whole. We've definitely regretted employing like certain individuals, and that's just been through like, I would say, tends to come down to attitudes, probably more so than ability in the past, in our experience. Definitely. Like, there's been instances where like dancers have, and I've got to say, like, few and far between, but there have been instances in it, like, where maybe they've been disrespectful to us, or they've been late, or different things that just like aren't acceptable. And like, when we're putting our name and our creative reputation on the line, we see everyone as being like an equal part of our team. And if someone is messing around or on their phone all the time, or we spot that like all the time, and people think we might not, but we do, and that makes a massive difference, and it makes a massive difference to clients as well. Yeah,
and I think if you ask that question to Jay's his answer would probably be more, would agree with us, but also he's much more focused on the technical ability of a dancer and what they can bring to the table. Ross and I, we sit back and we get to kind of think about the bigger picture, and when Jay might be focusing on a detail, we're watching how someone's responding in the room and how they're responding to our artist or our scenario. And actually, more often than not, I don't notice the technical ability, but I really notice when someone's not being part of our team. And we just want to have a really nice working environment. We're so lucky that we all do a job where it's just fun, and actually everyone needs to be promoting a positive way of working. And if that doesn't kind of sit in and we really notice that if it doesn't sit in our lane.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I think also because I think a lot of dancers forget that it's like a representation of your company as well. It's like the people you've chosen. Yeah. And if that's somehow in a negative light, it can really affect your work as well and your relationships with certain clients. It's really important that dancers sort of do that. For sure. All right, next question. Ooh, what's the hiring process of a dancer for you guys?
So we go through a whole, it depends on our time scale, and quite honestly, some jobs happen within a few days of us hearing about them, and sometimes we have the ability to have that longer process. If we have a longer process, then our first instance is always to open it out to an audition, because in those auditions we do find exciting new talent, and we're always up for experiencing and working with new people, because that brings fresh and exciting ideas to the table. Obviously, if we're on a short-term, basis, and we know that we've got to turn something around, then we're always going to turn to people that we know and that we can trust. And if we don't have the ability to do an audition process, that's going to be
a lot of that, as it should, would come from Jay as well. So it might be a job that comes in that Jay knows that he knows obviously people's abilities and like who he likes working with and all that and stuff, or who he wants to give a chance to from a technical point of view. So a lot of that comes from him, and he might know, this job I know that I need these four, and it's these four girls, and they'll be perfect, and that's it. But yeah, like Dan says, like in an ideal world, if it's a big, large scale job, we would always try to open it up to like a big open audition, because that is the way you find new talent, and you're able to nurture new talent. And there's been like massive examples where we've done that, and we've maybe gone into an audition process knowing or thinking that we've known like, oh, it's going to be like these guys, and then you found like a hidden gem, and you're like, oh shit, like we would never have like contacted them, we would never have picked them up if it wasn't for this. So yeah.
I mean, obviously I know that times are changing, and it's always like a cost situation as well, and a time situation, like how much time do you have, how much money are they willing to invest into the audition process and all of that. But I will say this, exactly what you just said, like finding those hidden gems that you might not have had any access to before, and giving people the opportunity to step up and shine.
There's also another element to that. There's finding the hidden gems, but then you need to be sure that they're ready to go on that journey with you. Sometimes these jobs are so high profile for what we're trying to achieve, and obviously we know that with a dancer that's been in the business for longer and been through the process more times, they might have a greater understanding and a greater level of experience, and therefore they bring a different thing to the table. So quite often, if we're bringing a new person in, then we obviously have to have that conversation about, do you understand what you're getting into? Can you basically uphold everything that we need to achieve?
And also the flip side of that as well, what's great about an audition process is that some of those like more experienced dancers or old-time dancers that maybe work with us a lot, it stops them from being complacent as well.
Absolutely.
So it stops them from like making them come into an audition room and work for a place on the job is really important, because it stops any complacency, and they're on a level playing field with, someone that's maybe fresh out of college or a newbie that hasn't been on the scene for very long. So yeah, it's important for both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, for sure. I also think there can be, there needs to be a balance between, if you get an all new cast, it could be really detrimental to your, project. But if you only get OGs, it can also lack a little bit of fresh energy and fresh.
But when you get the balance right, then it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Try and strive for that balance, like what you said. You worded it perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, amazing, cool. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so on my last live I did, a choreographer mentioned to me that there has been times where there was budget, for example, to add dancers to it. But because of bad experiences with dancers in general, people then would decide rather not to go with dancers. Have you guys experienced that as well? Have you had like a situation where you suggested, oh, we should have dancers for this, and then clients will go like, you know what, I've had such bad experiences with dancers, I don't want them anywhere near this project? Or
no, actually not. Nothing springs to mind.
And also quite often the client is looking to us. So if we know, if we want to bring them on and it's out, and they're always going to go with they have an opinion, but they're going to go with us creatively. And if we promise that we can deliver something, whether it's a great team of dancers, or whether it's some piece of technology or some kind of other element to the show, if they're buying into us, they're going to buy into our creative ideas. So we just bring that.
And I think that goes back to one of the earlier questions about that level of trust that we need to have, because our clients we're in a fortunate position that our clients do have a lot of trust in us. When we bring people or items to the table, and I say items as in like technology, or people as in like dancers or other members of the production team and creative team, that's on us. So the client, we're responsible for all of that. So that's why it's so important that we have that level of trust with everything and everyone on our team. But yeah, no, we haven't actually experienced like someone who's been dead set against dancers ever.
Okay, amazing. That's good to know. What is your favorite part about your job?
You go.
I mean, definitely the moment where we come up with the idea, and when we hit the nail on the head, it feels great. But then I think also on the converse of that, when you stand in a rehearsal space or on the opening night and you take a step back and you've been so involved, and you have that moment of, oh my word, we actually achieved this. And what I love is that idea, which is now massive in scale and has got all of our team invested in it, and we're now got 20,000 people watching it, that came out of an idea where the four of us sat in an office and just thought about what this could be.
And for me, I think it's always that audience reaction. Like the first night of an arena show, when you're like presenting something in front of like the public for the first time, or is there's just nothing like that. Like I remember the first night of Jurassic Live World Tour, like seeing kids' reactions to that show. Like we spent the whole time just like watching the audience, and like it was really emotional to see that. And same with the LM5 Tour, like hear that those arenas full of people, like fans, like screaming, and it's like is it in a response to something that's come out of our heads and we've like created is so it's incredible.
Yeah, it must. I think it can be compared to the feeling of for a dancer. I guess for me personally, my favorite part is when, like, it's that moment when you're on stage and it's that first explosion and the people's reaction, and it's like, oh my god, like this is actually happening. Because I feel like along the way, there's a moment where you're like, this is not going to happen. This is impossible.
Everyone has that moment, don't they, when you're like, oh god, like what have we done? Like,
like this is gonna fail and this is horrible and everybody's gonna hate it. Like, you know, that moment of doubt. But then when that,
but we're all on that, aren't we? If we don't doubt, then we're not going to make it better. We're not going to make it the best it can be.
And it makes those moments, that first moment in front of an audience, like all the better when you hear those reactions and you're like instantly all those like weeks or months or whatever of pain and like late nights and like really hard work, that's all instantly worth it in that like that second of like hearing that reaction. It's it's why we do it.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. What advice would you give to anyone that may want to pursue further, like beyond being a dancer, that may want to step into creating and, you know, more on production on that side?
We've all been in that place, right? I was a stage manager back in the day in my 20s, and I always wanted to be a director. And I think the best advice is to actually ask questions. And I think we're all meeting people all the time. And what you realize is that we put all these people on pedestals, but no one needs to be on a pedestal. If you get the person at the right time, everyone is absolutely overwhelmed to be asked questions about their profession, what they do, all that, you know, the same thing you're asking us right now. It's like a beautiful thing. So for me, I just used to find time, whether it be a lunch break or after work, when I'm in the pub, and I could just chat to someone that I aspired to be or want to, you know, know more information and ask them questions. And I think dancers are in the amazing position where they get to work. If you're in the right tour in the right place, you get to work with the most amazing, prolific, creative team, or, you know, technicians, or whatever you're interested in. Why not ask them questions?
Yeah, you have to use all those opportunities, and like if those opportunities aren't coming to you, then you like go out and find them. Like, you know, make yourself known to the lighting guy or the screens guy or the director or whoever. Like, if that's what you're aspired to be. And even I know for a lot of people they might not know necessarily what area they want to go into, or, you know, so just make yourself known to everyone and like find those opportunities yourself. And like it's not going to come to you. You've got to go out and like and seek it, but just instead of like sitting around and being on Instagram or whatever in your downtime, like talk to people. People love talking about themselves and their own jobs and their own journeys, and like, you know, just a simple question of like, oh, how did you get to where you are? People love that shit, you know. If you pick your right time as well, obviously you're not going to do that.
It's going to be the right moment,
or whatever. But I think people are a lot more receptive than you might necessarily assume them to be.
For sure, I can definitely also speak from experience. Like I have quite a curious nature, just about everything in our industry. So whenever
we know it.
But whenever I can, I always start conversations and ask, and just like, you know, just start some controversy and see where people's minds go and how they think.
And that's why we love you.
Oh, not everyone does.
You in equal measure. I'm joking.
No, but you know, I would definitely say for people to always stay curious and, you know, pick your moments for sure. But
you know, if you do it in the right place at the right time. Somebody that works with us emailed me 5 times before, and it's just not that I wasn't interested. It was just taking the time to actually find the time to meet and have a coffee. That person hasn't stopped working with us since. It's just take the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say no to an answer.
relentlessly.
If on site or in rehearsals or on show days in the right time, then like get a number or get an opportunity to connect with them like in the future.
100%.
You don't have to feel the pressure of like, oh shit, on show day I was really busy and I didn't get the chance to speak to the lighting guy. Like just ask for his number or get his contact in some capacity.
Totally.
For sure. Beautiful. All right. So just to finish up with you two, I just wanted to ask some personal questions. What is your absolute goal in life?
For me, it's to be, from a personal point of view, it's always just to be like happy and to be like content with like my things that I've done and to make my friends and family proud. I think if you can like hold your hand in your heart and honestly say that, then I think you're doing fine.
And I would agree. I think for me also, just, I wouldn't want to be retired and have regrets. So, just to do everything that feels right. And I think most of the time, go with your gut, because quite often those are the right choices.
For sure. It's so interesting you say that. I've been watching a lot of interviews with people that have quite big businesses and have had really a lot of success. And that's the one common thing that they say is like, really trust your gut.
Yeah.
And it may seem crazy, it may seem like far-fetched and all of that, but just trust that.
And also to accept that like sometimes you're going to get it wrong. And that's absolutely fine. And in fact, you learn more, and it's a really cliche, cheesy thing to say, but like you do learn more from your mistakes than you learn from your successes in a lot of ways.
And as we know, that failure isn't about the failing, it's about how you pick yourself up from it. And I would say 100% having a team of people that you work with makes failure so much easier to bear.
And even if you are doing something on your own, like surround yourself with people who are like-minded and people who are aspirational and people that are going to support you
but people that are going to be honest with you, because you need people to say you were shit then. You need that you can't do that again, and call you up on all that stuff that we've all done
that within Black Skull. Like there's been like loads of times where we say that to each other because that's the only way you're going to learn. It's the only way you're going to improve.
Exactly.
And like we're by no means like claim to know everything. Like we're on a learning journey as well. Like we're in a fortunate position that our business has been successful and we've been around for 5 years and we're established, and that's great. But like we're still on a journey. We're still learning things every day.
Massively.
Every job we do, you learn a new thing, and you're like, oh shit, and you look back and go like, oh my god, like a year ago I would have dealt with that situation like so differently than I would now, and like that's so positive.
Yeah, for sure.
Trust the process, I guess, is the message from that. Yeah.
Okay. One thing you would say to your younger self?
I would say it's okay to be you. I think I grew up trying to be something else that probably links back to so many gay issues and whatever. But the reality is you're good enough. It's going to be fine.
Wow. Thanks. I needed to hear that today. I really needed that.
That and say like it's going to be okay, and nothing's ever as bad as you like think it is. And be true to yourself and ask questions. Like no question's a stupid question.
Okay, wow, thank you. Do you have a motivational slogan for when shit gets tough?
No.
Ross loves live, laugh, love, right? I've got okay, I'm gonna turn this camera around and I'm gonna show you my arm. What will be this is what my mum said to me for so many years, and I think probably is the thing that I live my life by. Just sign yourself over to the universe and just let it go. It's fine.
Okay, wow. Okay, amazing. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to have Jay join me so we can wrap this up really nicely with the whole team, except for Paul. But thank you so much, honestly, for talking to me and just elaborating a little bit deeper into what it is you guys do and how you perceive dancers, and just in general, like, for taking the time to do this. I honestly like it so much.
We think you're amazing, but we think dancers are amazing, and that's the most amazing thing, to be connected with you guys is such a privilege for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon, yeah?
All right. Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. I am back. See if Jay added himself to this. Let me see where you at. Oh, there you go. Yes, you did. I'm making background music now. I don't have any. Oh!
I'm just trying to turn off the TV.
I was really scared what was going to happen next. I was like, why is he standing there? Is he ready to, like, break a sweat, do a dance performance? I don't know.
Here's my solo. This is my, you know, what do they do at those teaching conventions? They do what's it called? Showcase.
Oh, my God. Yes, please. Just go for it.
Oh, what's going on, Emeli? Emeli's on.
I know. I just saw, oh, Faves, cutie. Oh my God, I haven't seen her in ages. Oh my God. How are you?
I'm all right, you know. I'm good.
Yeah?
Good today, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. I see you've been working out every day, of course.
You know what, I'm not going to lie, I've been doing the most. And I got access to a dance space. So yesterday I spent most of the day there and my body is in pieces today.
Really?
Just that, like I tell you, we're all going to be in for a rude awakening when we all go back to rehearsals, all the dancers, everyone, because just even going for like 5 hours, like pretty solid, so it felt like a rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Any of the workouts, any of the yogas, any of the other things that I'm sure everyone's been doing, there's nothing that's like when you really put yourself through your paces, you know, and just what dancers do every day. And I'm always saying it when I'm in rehearsals nowadays. I'm like, geez, I don't even know if I could even do that anymore, you know? Really
it's so true. Because I was like I've been finally working out for the first time in my life. It's hard.
I was super proud. I was like, yeah.
I mean, don't get it twisted. It's hard and I'm sore and all of that. But then one of the days I did like maybe 3 hours of dancing where I was learning a routine from a video and then I had to film it. Yo, the next day, my body was shattered. Like to the point where I had like 2 naps on that day. My body was destroyed. I was like, what is that? I wasn't even going for blood. Like, oh my God, this is crazy.
The learning from videos thing has been great. You know, I've, as well as working out, I've done a lot of online classes, man. A lot of like fun stuff.
Mm.
You know, I did Deanna's the other day before I did Poppin' afterwards, and I was like, my brain was like scrambled egg. I was like, learning from a video is...
It's a lot.
And then learning from her on a video is double next.
I know. I do like private classes with her, and honest to God, I want to cry. It's so hard. I'm like, why would I ever pick that style and her to teach a video live private class? It's, oh God. But yes, anyways. Oh, Armel. Yay! Well, okay, so thank you very much, Jay, for joining us. Obviously, you heard the conversation with Dan and Ross, which was super insightful. We just wanted to also like get your opinion on it. It's so valid. Obviously, you work so closely with the dancers. On like with Black Skull, and just wanted to ask you if you have anything to add to what Dan and Ross said, and then obviously we have a few like specific questions for you as well.
Yeah, I would say it was quite interesting. Obviously, we speak all the time, me and the boys. You know, we concept all the things together and have the different viewpoints we're on the jobs. It was. One thing that I would say is, you know, when you ask the question about have we ever had experiences where clients...
Oh, don't know what happened there.
Oh, and when you ask them the question about any experiences where clients have maybe asked us about having dancers on a project, we've, like the boys said, we've never had anyone tell us that they don't want dancers on a project if we've said that this could be... You know, if they feel like dancers are the right way for their artist or for the brand or for the show or for the concept and the trust is there. But one thing I would say, and again, it's very, very minute, but I think it's also good for Dancers Network and for you to hear it, is that sometimes from higher up levels than people even realize, that even we're not aware that are paying attention, have said that they might not want certain individuals for multiple different reasons, and sometimes not to do with attitude, not even to do with, again, their skill set, just sometimes for a look that didn't balance out with the artist or whatever. And sometimes there'll be real specifics from people in the corner of the room that are very heavily involved in a project, corporate and artist-wise. You expect it on the artist ones because they obviously, artists have a real close relationship with dance and performance and stuff like that. But on the corporate ones, for them to hold on to the information they've had from previous experiences, and that's not only just the dancers, sometimes that's working with certain agents as well and things like that. So I think I just think it lends itself to say to everyone to make sure that they approach things with a good attitude and deal with the people in general, with a good attitude, because you don't know what marks you're leaving on a situation, on a person. I think it's a lot easier to get on than to not, and I mean, I know from being a very honest person, very blunt person, very, I can be confrontational as well. And I have my moments that, I'm either not proud of or where I've had to, stand my ground, and that might not have been to someone else's liking. But just in the situations where it is easier to be nice and there isn't a reason to kind of like put yourself in a bad light, move forward with grace,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a question that I had before, but just because obviously we know each other and we work with each other so much. So how would you advise for someone if they are in a situation that might confront them to react a certain way or might cause a friction, or you know what I mean? How would you advise someone, like how would you advise a dancer to go about that? Who do they go to?
Well, I mean, we know from our own lives as dancers, when we were both dancing and having opinions and also working together in the other way, we've had these chats before, and we know often it's about the people, trying to know the people that you're dealing with. Like, I think there are some people you get a lot out of going directly to them and maybe trying to have a gentle conversation. And obviously in some situations you have to be really professional, either go to the agent or go to someone else, your tour manager, maybe something in those situations who's meant to be responsible for you, but or have your well-being at heart. Mm-hmm. I think every situation is very, really, really different, and you expect your agent, your trusted person there to be the person that you can go to in any time of need, even if that's just for the advice for how you maybe deal with it, if it should be done one-on-one. Because sometimes when you do that to an official extent, you can escalate certain things.
Yeah.
Because on a human level, everyone's human. And sometimes those people would have felt like, oh, it's something that someone could have just come to me about and just spoken to me. And sometimes the shock of that is a thing that kind of knocks them sideways.
Yeah.
And I'd been there on the dancer side where I'd maybe asked, an agent, I felt young, we didn't have the same access to information back then. I asked them to help me. They went through and dealt with it like I'd almost gone to like my mum or dad and like really helped out and went hell for leather on it. But then that left a bad, that was kind of like, it came back on me in some way because they were just wondering why I didn't feel like I could just communicate. And every situation is really, really different. So it's hard to have a general answer on that. I think on bigger scale things, I think it's all about getting everyone together, going to an agent. I think on smaller scale things, sometimes you built up a relationship in some way. I think it's really important to try and open a channel of communication as an adult to another adult, as a human to another human, as a professional to another professional, before maybe going to where you need to go with it, Yeah. And also depends on what the issue is.
Of course.
I've come across some really such a wide variety of different issues that have come up in the workplace. Mm-hmm. From even borderline someone feeling like they'd been had racial discrimination against them, and it seemed to be unfounded in the end, but those are very serious issues, and they're things that have to be taken seriously. So I think it's conduct is really difficult to manage, because in any other business, there's HR, there's a HR team, there are protocols, and there are things in place, and there are protections for you as an individual that allow you and prompt you to handle stuff in the right way. And sometimes that is going to the team that's meant to defend you in that issue. And in our world, and in the self-employed business, there just don't seem to be those things laid out for us. And that's not just, you know, for dancers. You got to remember, we're all in this, and that's for all of us in how we approach certain situations, deal with individuals or circumstances, or, you know, things in general. And it's a broad scope. I just think people have to read it right. I think seek advice from those that you trust around you before you step forward. I can't tell you how to step forward, but I just say make sure you really have it laid out, really have it thought about what you want to do and how you're going to do it before you do it is always the best way to move forward.
For sure. I think it's hard to establish, not hard, but it's challenging to establish boundaries within a profession that can be the spectrum of what we do as dancers is very close, like to the artist, or to, you know, we very often than not have very revealing clothes, and sometimes those boundaries can be super like vague and complicated. But I would also say just definitely ask the people that may have more experience than you. You know, take a moment to really think about what you want the outcome of that inquiry to be, or what you want the output to be as well. I can only speak from my experience, and it would just definitely be brief on it and think about it first before you say anything. So
yeah. And you know what? But the thing is, that even like I've been there with you when I've seen a multitude of different ways where you've maybe had to handle stuff, and even where you've had to handle stuff with me, and I've seen you be fiery, and I've seen you be more calculated, and sometimes I've seen you completely, which was very rare occasion, pull yourself completely back. And that's not just you, that will be individuals, that will be myself in many other different situations, because we're all human. And I think the main thing, like you said, is find that balance. I think communication is key, always. You know, you can unearth so much stuff with a conversation, and whether that be being smart and speaking to someone who knows that individual better than you, because it might not be a situation where it's choreographer to dancer. It might be dancer to a stage manager, or someone that just an AD on a music video, because we all know that assistant directors, the power trip can go a bit crazy, but they're just doing their job too. So sometimes they're just like trying to find the best way to reach the solution of the situation without having something explode, but also having respect for yourselves as individuals, as dancers, as highly skilled, trained professionals, you know, because sometimes we're not treated as that. And I think being able to, doesn't mean anyone has to have an ego or go all out crazy, but just being able to know you know, we are a professional. I'm a grown up. I think, you know, and then move as such, you know, is a very, you know, it's the way to move forward, you know.
Cool. Thank you. What would you say you value the most from a dancer in a working environment?
Yeah, you know what? This has changed over the years, and I would say one of the things that I say that I really value most now is teamwork. Like knowing that not only are they there for each other, but they're there for you as well. Because we're all humans in the space, and in a creative space where energy and sharing it and giving it is really, really important. You want to know you've got people on side, and you want to know that people are trying to work hard for you the same way you're working hard for them. We're all trying to create an experience for ourselves, and you know, and I feel fortunate enough that I want to try and create an experience for others as well now. And I think so long as everyone's in the room knowing that we're sharing that, then we can have all of the fights, all of the great moments, all of those things together, so long as everyone knows we're moving forward as a team. And that's the main aim. Like, that's where we want to end up, you know? Like, we all want to have fun. And like Dan and Ross said, we all want to enjoy our jobs and have a great day and have a great moments and whatnot. And you don't get greatness sometimes without some difficult situations, you know? But I think just knowing that you come out of it the other side with a team and with people who can you can communicate with and share that with and laugh about the highs and the lows with is really, really invaluable, you know, to the life experience of this. Because once you start doing it for nearly 20 years in many different roles and stuff, you realize that that's what you want to come out of it with. You want to come out of it with the memories and people to share those memories with who understand. And you won't have that if there's not a team ethic there.
For sure. I think that we're obviously all individual artists, but when we come into a room, we become the group of this product, the group of embracing this new task. And that's, I think, such an important thing to just keep in mind. Like, yes, you can be an individual artist, everyone is, but again, like we said, teamwork makes the dream work, and that's absolutely necessary.
If we've all chosen to be there, be there.
Oh my God, 100%. Like,
so I think that's a big thing, you know. Same for me. Like, I want to feel like people are in the room because they've chosen to be there. I get the difficulties and finding yourself creatively and finding your center and who you are and whatever. But I just think the one thing for anyone to try and do is be there, because if you've got in the room, if you've gone that far to get into the room, to be that great, and I would like to think I look for great dancers. I really value talent, like I have 100%. But I know now the value of team ethic and how important that is to me and how I move forward, you know, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then what makes a dancer stand out for you? Like when we're talking specifically about, you know, maybe an audition or on a job that you're like, that was good.
You know what? The ability to show up. I don't know. I can't describe.
Really?
We just know, like in the moments where, you know, when it's getting deep in the trenches, you know, and they show up, you know, that pressure moment in an audition where maybe they haven't looked like they've been getting it, but now it's the moment of truth. It's the moment to like really be present and available and open and human and feeling everything. Then, sorry, my door just knocked. I'm like, who's knocking on my door? That's what I look for, because you know that they've listened, they've taken things in, they've looked around at their surroundings, they've paid attention. And so I think showing up, it maybe sounds like such a general thing to say, but it capitulates all of those things together, you know, that I think are really important. I think they're definitely the things I look for, you know, and being human is the one main thing that I think rings true in that. I think if you can bring your humanity to your dance, your experiences, to what you do, and that obviously lends itself to how you show up.
Of course.
That's really important, because like I said, if you're in the room, you should have the gift, you know.
For sure. What's your like? Do you also like prefer doing auditions, or do you prefer like obviously the recommendation, like to find dancers? What is it that works for you?
I love an audition.
I know you do. I assisted you in plenty. I know you love an audition. You love to make them so long as well.
If we're gonna find the right stuff, you know what? But here's the reality of it is, I always loved auditions when I was a dancer, because it was an opportunity for me to you know, especially when I was young and people didn't know me like that, like to get my foot in the door. And then even as I got older and I was established, I had no problem ever auditioning, even for projects I was already on. There's something about knowing that you've earned something.
Oh, it makes you feel so much better.
That feels really, really, really amazing when you walk in the room on that first day.
Yeah.
There's something about that. Like, I don't know, that it's inexplainable to me. So even when certain people might think, you know, auditions that I might hold might be unnecessary, but like Dan and Ross said, you might unearth something in there, you know. I remember auditioning for jobs that maybe I could have cast in 5 seconds, and I had people in my mind that I thought of, and I remember there's people like Jordan Melkor who I never would have met if that didn't happen, and all of a sudden he became the person that I thought of as the star of what I was about to do, and someone else who was in my head didn't show up that day. And they were what I was thinking of. And that moments like that would have happened. And I'm really thankful for those moments. And some things, yeah, you got to just go direct. You know who's needed and whatever. But I think an audition is great because it's a great opportunity for the dancers to have themselves be ready, have themselves be on, do their thing. And I love them. And I'd like to think I don't audition unnecessarily. If the job is walk in, and all you got to do is walk, you're coming to the audition, you're going to walk. But if I know we're dancing, and I know, like, obviously, me and you know, Richie, like, some of the jobs we have done together, we were dancing, like, multiple styles, multiple things, genres, like, doing the most. So it's like, it made sense to know that people were ready for that when they came into the audition. And sometimes the stamina, think about some of those shows we've done. Yo.
Yep.
Like, it's work. And you know, people, you want to know that people, you know what they're getting themselves in for one, and two, you know what you might get from them once you start getting into what the reality of the job is.
For sure. Yeah. That's, I mean, 100. I mean, I personally love auditioning, especially if it's a big job, and on those occasions that it does happen and does work out. Honestly, the feeling, it feels such an accomplishment. It feels like, oh, like I earned that. I went there. I was there for hours. Every single round, I thought I was maybe gonna get cut. Like, oh, it's just there's something to it that just, I don't know. Maybe it's an ego thing, but it brings you pride. And I definitely think that it's a beautiful thing to achieve and accomplish things.
And they teach you a lot. Like how many times and how often do you get all the heads in the room?
That's so true.
Times for me, like that was obviously I wanted to get the job when I was dancing, but that was also such a good part of it. And again, I don't know, it always brought out the best in me, and I can only go from my own experiences. That's why I like to hold auditions, because I hope that the dancers show up and it brings out the best in them because of being around the energy of the community as well.
Oh my God, 100%. I could not agree more. Just on some personal questions, like what's your ultimate goal for life?
Yeah, you know, again, change from when I was away. You know, I'm still very hungry for the industry, but I think for life, I think, you know, just nowadays, really and truthfully, really just to be happy to see my kids. I've got another one, I've got a second, I've got a daughter on the way.
Oh, but it's a girl. I didn't know. That's beautiful.
And you know, to see them achieve. You know, and for the ones I love in my life, you know, professionally and personally, to all just, life is long, and we're only going to be the way we are, being able to do the things we do for so long. So I think if people really start to think longhand, you know, like the relationship you create and how long they might be with you and how they change, you know, and how they won't be how they are right now. Just you know, find some way of, you know, just wanting that to be important, because that's where I'm at with life right now. I just, you know, that pursuit of happiness, I guess.
Wow, so deep. I understand 100%. What would you say to your younger self?
What would I say to my younger self? You know, I'd say a lot, man. Some of which I don't know if I'd say on, you know, right now here. They're conversations that I still try and have with myself. But I would say, as much as I really worked hard, there was always more that I could, you know, you can always do. And I think I needed to what I would have said to my younger self is make more time for some of the things that are really important. As you get older, things change and people change and you lose things and whatnot. And I think if we're talking dance, you know, I know dancers are on here. I don't know, a lot of these dancers might not know me as a dancer, but I worked damn hard for years and years and years. And I did okay with it, you know, I did okay. So I have no regrets from that, because it's ended up, I've ended up in a good place. But I definitely know that from a personal standpoint, there are things and relationships, family and friends wise, that were definitely compromised for me wanting to spend time doing other things. Sometimes that be work, and sometimes that be things that I just didn't really need to be doing. And I would say that time's never coming back.
Yo, amen to that, for sure. Well, Jay, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to talking to me. I appreciate you so much as a human being, as a professional. You know, like, I've known you for so many years. You've given me some of my first opportunities, and I will forever be grateful for that. And I can only say to anyone that ever gets an opportunity to work with you, trust him, be patient with him, understand him, love him, hug him, and yeah, embrace his funniness and his talent and his wonderful personality. And honestly, like, keep doing your thing, Jay. Like, it's beautiful to see.
Oh, love to you, man. And like, you know, like the boys said, you know, we talk about it in the office a lot. Like, we're really proud of you. We know many different shades and colors to the rainbow of Richie, and like, we are really, like, so impressed by how you've moved to another country, but you've still stayed true to your word to invest in the people who are here on this scene in London, whilst you're realistically part of something else. And, you know, I've been around a long time, so I've seen many people try and start up what you've started and stops, and stop for many different reasons. And you've made more tailwind and more opportunities and more of an open channel than any of those people ever did. In a time where it might be actually more difficult to actually do some of those things because it's so vast.
Thank you.
So thank you. And thank you, you know what? And thank you for inspiring me, because the dancers I have in the room, they inspire me too. It's not just about me bringing things to the table. It's you, and it's, you know, I've learned so much having you in the space, and Celine as well, you know, my darling there, who's on the chat. You know, like, all of you guys make me want to do what I do, and make me want to show up every day. And that's why I think it's really important about having good days, because I can only be great with great people, you know, and that's what I want for all of us, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, Marvin, my G, yes, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Jay. Thank you for your time. All the love to you. Enjoy your evening, your family. God bless you, and stay safe and healthy, my love.
It's date night tonight. I'm about to make a pineapple crumble and, like, you know.
Nice. Well, thank you very much. Love you lots, yes?
You too, babe.
Bye.
Be safe out there. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Demo sounds good.